I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Our focus this week is on one of our nonprofit organizations in Joplin that's been around for more than 90 years, the Joplin Association for the Blind and Low Vision Enhancement Center. And I'd like to thank my guests for joining me today. We have Jim Murray and Shirley Ritter and Stephanie Mann. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, people at 90 years have long history, but we probably better start off with the basics for people to know. When we say Association for the Blind, how do you define that to begin with?
Well, the Joplin Association for the Blind tries to daily reach out to those individuals who have either blindness or low vision, which means, they have a very limited amount of vision left, but maybe something and a device or technology might help that. So we just try to reach out to them.
And I noticed your name of your organization actually has that Low Vision Enhancement Center kind of added to it since I think a few years ago.
Yes, we did that just a few years back, because not everybody is blind or, what you consider black blind, but more and more individuals living to be older now are coming up with macular degeneration, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, these types of things. And we wanted to be of assistance to individuals in a sense that we could provide something for them to be able to see their print better or their Bible, the Bible better, those things that they like to read.
Great. Now, 90 years starting in 1923, brief history, how you got started in Joplin and get to where you're at today.
Well, I am not really that familiar with the way back history of I know that there was a little house down on, I want to say Joplin Street, I believe it was, and they met there. And I know early on when I came to the organization back in 1989, we didn't have transportation. We didn't have anything for the individuals to come in to the lunches, to do it. So the telephone pioneers were there available with their cars daily, for the Tuesday lunches and stuff. They go out and pick them up and bring them in. So, they date back so far that, a lot of things weren't still visible to us to know how some of those things happen, and a lot of the stuff burn up in a CPA's office. So
a lot of those history records are
a lot of the history records are So things like that date back, and I know a lot of people just don't realize that we're even there still today. But a lot of the eye doctors in town are becoming more aware of us being around and being able to send individuals to us.
Now, Jim and Shirley, I know that you're both involved as members and board members. Do you see that as a big role, as helping to just get the word out, Jim, about what you have?
Well, that's what we're for, is to help the blind and vision impaired in our community be aware of our facility there and bring it throughout the state of Missouri for the Blind Center or the association and the Joplin Service Club of the Blind. So yes, we try to get the word out, and I do things throughout the state to help our club be informed about what's happening around the state of Missouri.
So a lot of networking with other organizations,
yes,
tying that together. How big is your service area here in Joplin? We say the Joplin Association. What do you consider your service area?
Joplin Association for the Blind, we go out, within 80-mile radius of Joplin, but we never turn anyone down for the services in the Low Vision Center. You can be from Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas.
State line doesn't mean anything, right?
That doesn't mean a thing there. Now, when it comes to their service club, it does, because that is a state organization. So to be a member of that club, then they do need to be a Missouri resident.
Shirley, you also feel that it's important to get the word out. I know you actually called me early on letting us
Yes,
know
I
that.
did. Well, I serve as a PR chairman of the committee for the board of the service club. No, excuse me, for the association. And I'm also a president of the service club. And I think it's absolutely wonderful that you're going to help us get this word out to people, that just because, if you can't read the paper and you can't read your mail, you need a little help. Some way, let us try to help you. Call us down at the Blind Center. We'd be happy to do whatever we can for you. But if we don't know you're there, we can't help you.
Now, Stephanie mentioned, perhaps some of the things come with age. As we get older, our eyes change like everything else, our hearing and so forth. That as our aging society is progressing, do you find more people are going to find that it's tougher to do those things?
More of our group are 85 or 95 years old, aren't they? And I kidded the bus driver the other day. I said, you're going to have to get a trailer on the back of this bus to carry the walkers to get into the building.
But those are concerns that we hear a lot about in the news. I know, Stephanie, that the early signs of eye problems can come on earlier in people's lives.
Yes.
You need to be aware of that.
Some people are born with that, with some type of a problem, to their eyes. And then some of us just develop it as we get older. And macular degeneration is one of those more prevalent in the older generation. And that's why I think we're seeing more and more individuals nowadays with macular, because that takes their central vision away and only leaves peripheral for the most part. And adjusting to trying to look out of your peripheral all the time, but you will notice individuals that have macular that will be doing that.
And so the adjustment for their life, and as you said, being able to read a paper.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the things we take for granted, driving, that's one of the, I imagine, one of the
that's
first
out of
things
the
that's gone
question,
right away.
And if if you don't have someone in your family or some very, very close friend, you don't always want somebody else to know all of your business. So, to read all of your mail and those types of things. So, they like to see if there's a device that will help them do that.
Well, let's talk about some of the services that you do have offered. I know I was looking at information you had on your website, just the Low Vision Enhancement Center opportunity. Jim, can you tell us some of the things that might help people that are maybe finding that print's getting a whole lot smaller on that newspaper than it used to be?
Well, they have magnifiers and TVs where it magnified onto a TV, and they have talking software in a lot of different devices, and that helps with that. But sometimes they are likely to have anybody start talking to them about technology, but the technology is out there. It's just a matter of understanding the technology to use it there.
And we have some video showing on the screen as we're talking. We can see that it can really increase the font size for people who need to read
absolutely.
and help you with the things that you're not used to being able to handle. So those are technology, computer-driven society that we have today. I imagine a lot of people really want to be able to still be able to see those emails or read their computer.
Right, and they work real good, but you've got to understand how they work to a sense on the technology. But usually they start out with a handheld magnifier, and then they work into some of the lighter technology with the, CCTV
CCTV.
That's it.
Very
Yeah.
good.
I got
We
too many.
understand.
Yes, and but then they go from there as their sight, gets worse there. But I tell younger people or first people that's having trouble seeing, it's a good time to be blind, because there's technology and there's people out there like the Joplin Association helping the Joplin Service Club with technology that we can bring you understand what we have or what there is available, and then there might be grants and different things that you can work on to make it available to you at your residence. But yes, it's a good time to be blind, or in my case it is.
And to help you know that those services are available to help you. Right. Now, Stephanie, when you're talking about the diagnosis, I mean, you mentioned people working with their eye doctors and so forth. Is there an assessment or something that people go through to?
Well, preferably we do like to see individuals after they've already seen their ophthalmologist or optometrist. And normally a lot of people will come to us after seeing the ophthalmologist, because he's going to look back into the eye, for the diseases of the eye. And then we can get a little bit of information from him as to what he's found, what their visual acuity might be, and just exactly what's going on with this individual's eyes. And then our low vision specialist, Dr. Barkley, will sit with them individually and go through what's considered a low vision evaluation to make the proper determination of a magnification aid, because that is as important to them as a pair of eyeglasses are to me or anyone that wears glasses.
So we're seeing video of
yes,
kind of a
this
clinic
is our,
setting then, right?
yes, that's our low vision evaluation room. And it's, say the doctor, you know, views what the low vision specialist views what the doctor has put on there, and he sees a significant change in that. Well, then we have the equipment there that he can do a little bit of an eye exam to kind of see what might be going on that might have changed since that person was at their doctor. So yeah, it's a great way to be able to provide things for individuals rather than just you coming in and saying, I need a magnifier, you know, a 3X. What strength do you really need?
Right,
Because
really,
you don't really know unless a doctor's told you.
to really tailor the needs for the
Right,
people who
right.
are working together.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't go to an ophthalmologist and tell him how to grind your lenses. He's going to want to do a test on you to see.
So, Shirley, do you find that a lot of when you're working with people that are coming in for services, they're probably the unknown for many people. What do I do?
I'm often not there. That would be Stephanie's realm.
But you are with Service
I'm at the
Club.
service
Right.
club on Tuesdays. I'm always there front and center for that. And I'd have to speak to the emotional side of it, if I might.
Sure.
I remember the first time I ever went there, and I said that the other day, and found to my amazement that almost everybody can remember the first time they came through the door. And the reason why I remember it was because there's a kind of panic that you get when you realize that you're not going to be able to live your life the way you've been living it, and you have to totally change everything because you're losing your eyesight. And I was what I refer to as the armpit of my life. When I got to the blind center, my daughter actually came and got me on Saturday and moved me over here, and then she'd made arrangements, and on Tuesday they came and picked me up and took me to the blind center for lunch, and I got to start meeting people. And it was wonderful, because when I opened the door, I could hear them laughing, and I thought, oh, what are they laughing about? This is this serious matter, you know. But I've learned how you do that, how you maintain your happiness even if you are blind.
And
Unless, of course, you're trying to screw in a screw or something. That's different.
Or a nail.
Yeah,
Drive a nail with a hammer.
No, you get a hold of the nail with a pair of needle nose pliers, and you don't aim it at your hand. You aim it at the pliers.
Or you hope you do anyway.
Well, that's what they told me. I took that problem to the support group when I moved into my apartment, and that's what they told me anyhow.
so the support group, how many members are in the support group? How many people come for you?
Well, that varies a lot.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's
comes and
a
goes.
smaller group,
Right.
Because you want participation from the group. Each individual person, you know, has a different need
Right.
when they come there, and that gives them an opportunity to talk about what it is that they're having so much trouble with,
Yeah.
whether it's pouring a cup of coffee and, you know, getting the right little thing to put on your cup to beep at you whenever it's full enough, you know, just things that, you know, or maybe, you know, we even did a cooking session one day at the support group meeting, and, you know, they enjoyed that. And so it's just a real informational, you know, let me help you. Maybe it's something I've already accomplished, you know. And so it's usually about 10 to 12 individuals,
Sharing with
which
each
is
other.
a good
Right.
good group for support, you know.
And there are so many things you have to learn to do when you're blind that you do differently than you did before. We were talking about how difficult it is to get the toothpaste on the toothbrush. And this one man said, oh, I worked that out. He said, I just stick the tube in my mouth and squeeze it.
Get the toothpaste in
Get
your
the
mouth and work
toothpaste
from
in your
there.
mouth and work from there.
You can use the brush on what you got in your mouth.
How about helping people maybe adapt to things in their home? You know, perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Jim. You know, people might say, you know, I'm used to my home being set up a certain way, but how do I adapt now that I can't see across the
Well,
room?
after the first time you run into things, you adapt pretty quickly. And when someone comes to clean your house, you tell them, don't move a thing. Clean around it, because
under it.
we always know where things are at,
Yeah.
because that's where we put it. But it takes time, but it's mainly learned by doing, or thinking what you're supposed to be doing anyway. And first thing, you don't have throw rugs around on the carpet, because those are very hazard to your body.
Tripping hazards,
Yes,
right?
yes. But there's things that can help you manage around the house better. You know, controls on your stove. In other words, you might not see the number unless you have a 10x magnifier, which I have. But you adapt. In other words, people say, well, you need to put that on 250. Well, I know where 200 is and know where 300 is. Well, you just kind of split that. Or you think you close anyway.
And there's always bump dots.
And there's different color bumps, dots, if you have those, or just any dot. That way you know
Something
that's a
that's
protect.
raised.
But it's slow. Now, one thing that's hard after you become vision impaired or blind is Braille, unless you understand the background where Braille came from. Back in World War I in Germany, that was their code system. And but it's easy to catch on to once you understand, but you got to keep working with the Braille or you lose it now.
Rehab services for the blind can help,
Right.
People learn.
State has programs.
But it's slow, but in other words, there's other people that has it worse than you do, and that's what the support groups do. In other words, there might be someone in the support group that's been this way for quite a while that can help tell someone that's firstly coming on the market as being a blind or a vision impaired individual, which plus communications, and they feel that they're not the only one that's having the trouble. And it's educational for everybody, even the ones that's been there a long time as a blind individual.
So it really sounds like a very strong support group.
It's a
Yes.
cohesive
We also
group,
provide
yeah.
transportation to and from those support groups, to and from our lunches on Tuesdays. And if anyone is in need of going to an eye doctor and doesn't have transportation, whether it be Springfield or whatever, we have vehicles that if they get in touch with us, we can help them in that way.
And that would probably be one real challenge for people if they don't have relatives in town to say,
Right.
I need to go to the eye doctor
Right.
next week. That van comes and
Exactly.
helps you get there.
Yes.
Now, volunteers operate that part of
Yes.
the program?
Yes. Without volunteers, I don't know where we would be. Yeah. We do. All of our drivers are volunteer drivers, except for myself when I end up
have to work,
needing to
right?
drive as well. And
All of our cooks
and
are
all of
volunteer
our
cooks.
all of our cooks are volunteer cooks, and the staff, the volunteers that help serve the meals and clean up the meals. And this is just a wonderful group of individuals who love to get together, be around other folks who have some of the same issues that they do.
And that probably really helps people from feeling isolated.
Oh,
I imagine in
yes,
today's society,
yeah.
you may not have that direct family in town, but you have a support group.
You have
The
a
blind
support.
center is where you go to feel normal. If you're blind, if you can't see, that's and everything that's such a problem for you out in a regular restaurant, where you have to decide what to eat, and then you can't see the menu. And anyhow, it's just wonderful. It's a place where you're at ease. That's what it is, and it gives you a sense of security. I love it. I just love it.
You're pretty partial, aren't you?
We all. That's
They
a good
all are.
place to
People are
go.
really
They all are.
Well, Stephanie, people might be curious about how you're able to support these operations, the financial side of things.
Well, I guess a lot of good board members over the years that have been very, very cautious about, the money, and always knowing that we had, either the grant in place or the money in place to build the facility that we're in, along with the help of the Lions Club. If it hadn't have been for the Lions Club, I don't know that we would have been able to have done that. But we have personal contributions,
Right.
always accepting of personal contributions. People have left trust to us. We write for different grants, and this allows us also to be able to help individuals who maybe have a low vision evaluation but then still cannot afford an item. We look to our grants to help us with that. And then the United Way. United Way helps us in our adult services programs, our transportation program, and in our low vision So they help in all three of those programs that we provide.
Great. Now, as we're watching, we're talking about the services. Some people might be curious about the younger generations that are affected maybe by vision loss at an earlier age. You have, resources or referrals for them available as well? if they
We
come in?
do. We are able to provide, those resources. We would love to get more children involved at the association. We would love to even have like a children's program to have a little support group or just activities. So we do on the United Way's Great Day of Service. We have, not Great Day of Service.
The Day of Giving.
Anyway, whatever they call that now. They've changed it, Action. Great Day of Action. Anyway, we are able to provide a beeper ball game for the kids and for volunteers throughout the city to come out and play beeper ball and get an idea of what it's like for those kids who might play that all the time but don't use, they don't have to have a mask, just not be able to blindfold, not be able to see. So yeah, we would love to be able to try to provide more things like that for individuals. So if we can just get that word out to the children, that this is something we would love to be able to provide for them.
What about a website if people are looking for information? Where do they
Yes,
need to
we
go?
do have a website. It's JA4FOR blind.org.
Okay. And if people, they'll find out about your services, your organization.
Yes,
what you
and
have
we
to
are
offer
on
there.
Facebook under Joplin Association for the Blind. A lot of people try to put in Association for the Blind and don't get it, but it's Joplin Association for the Blind. And also, I have email that people can get in contact with me by my email, which I believe is on our sites.
Great. And your phone number. If people
Our
want to
phone
just pick up the
number
phone.
is 417-623-5721.
And your hours of operation, if people want to come by?
They're 9 to 4 Monday through Thursday and 9 to 1 on Friday.
Okay. So people can drop in at any time when you're open to say, I need some information.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Do you find many people that might come in maybe to support their family members? Maybe it's a spouse or maybe a child who says, my mother or my father is now having problems, what can we do?
Yes, most generally that's how it is. Unless they're able to bring, the individual, get the individual to come. But a lot of times it's the concern of the family member or spouse, concerned for their spouse or other family member, mom or dad, whatever it is, because sometimes they just don't want to admit that I have an issue and I do need help with that.
No one wants to say, oh, gosh, I just can't drive anymore. But if you can't see, you don't have a lot of choice about it.
So yeah, we do get a lot of individuals who come in, or they even have a friend, just a friend that I really would love to help. I don't know if I can talk them into this, but tell me what it is, we would need to do. And then you give them the information, and then they go talk to them, and then hopefully, they call you back and get help.
And of course, when they go from there, when they're about their daily life, and they perhaps say church, they might have large print bulletins or something to help people who have visual impairment, to carry through to other parts that have been a part of their life. You find that a lot of people are then able to maybe talk to those organizations they're involved with. And do things like that.
And a lot of things are available to them in large print, if you just know where to look and where to find them. But we do a lot of referral also.
Right. Jim, what would you say if someone were to ask you, you're looking for people to come for service? What's the main reason someone should come to the association for?
Okay, as far as myself, in other words, I went along for years saying, well, I don't have an issue really. I'm getting older, but I did have an issue about seeing, and sometimes that first step, getting into it, is kind of hard, but I made the first step, and I'm glad I did, 16 years ago.
Been a while.
So, but with our community and our members of the service club, we ask them to get out there and talk about our service club. And like myself, I'm wearing a Joplin Service Club lanyard, and it's advertisement to a sense, but it's awareness. Our different venues that we go to, they recognize that there is a service club, a place that they can go. But also, I say, well, it's a good time to be blind in America because of our technology. And I always fall back to technology because that's what I'm kind of in there. And a lot of people don't realize it's there, like different applications on your iPhone, but I'm a technology person, so that's what I usually fall back on. But you know, start out with a magnifier if that helps you. Fine to read a phone number and a phone booth if you find a phone booth anymore.
Really?
But,
They don't exist.
But you know, you got to make the first step. Sometimes you're pushed a little bit by a friend or a family member, but it's out there. In other words, to make your life better and easier to manage and be independent. But life goes on. In other words, you didn't bring this on yourself usually, but you got to make the best of it in your surroundings that you're in.
And adapting for the future.
Yes.
But the whole point for us being even existing is to help people. That's what it's all about.
We're there for a service, to provide a
To
service.
provide a service for people who are in trouble with
Right.
their eyesight.
And
Whether it's with us or another way that we can help.
right, you could refer
Just
them to
Right.
someone else who
Make
can help
awareness
Please call
in the
us,
area
yeah.
or the state or the federal government, you know.
out. And perhaps that biggest part is just people don't know the information. You know,
I
what
think
can
so,
you do?
yeah,
You're
that
trying to
they-
get that word out.
We're trying to get
Nobody
that out.
likes to
That's
say, well,
exactly.
I just can't see either. Nobody, it's a terrible thing. I remember the last time I drove, and I would turn my blinker on to change lanes, and then I would blow my horn and move over and just hope everybody was watching.
So people don't want to
'Cause
give
I
up that
couldn't-
sense of
I
independence.
couldn't tell if there was a car out there or not. You couldn't see in the mirror.
Oh, I'm
That's
glad
why when I'm walking in traffic, I wear a red shirt. And hopefully that red means stop.
Well, I'd like to thank the three of you for coming today, sharing some information for our audience
our
about the
pleasure.
services that you
Thank
have
you.
to
For
offer.
having
And
us.
hopefully people have learned a lot of today about those services and what you're doing in our Joplin community for more than 90 years to help people out.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you for being here.
appreciate it.
You're
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us this week on Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. I hope you can join me again next week at the same time on the station. We'll see you then.